So this is Burn the Ship. Our goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs or professionals that can help you go all in on your business, right? We talk to a lot of people that have walked the walk and talked the talk and experience all the things that you experience as a small business owner. It's really not the same journey for everyone. It's a pretty unique thing. And we really enjoy kind of capturing those experiences and skills and trying to pass them on to that next generation of entrepreneur. And we've had a pretty good time doing it. So first of all, thanks for coming. I appreciate you making the trip. I know it's tough, especially being a business owner, being as busy as everyone is. Making the commute and taking some opportunity to market your business a little bit is a different thing. But thank you. I appreciate that. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah. So my name is Savanna Saunders. I own a photography business local here in Atlanta. And primarily my bread and butter is the wedding industry. But you'll find me also working with various nonprofits on a monthly basis.
Sure.
So
tell me a story. Where did this photography kick come from for you? How long has it been a business for you?
yeah, so I went full time in the fall of 2018. So that was fresh out of college for me, a year post grad. And growing up, I would have never thought this is what I'd be doing. I had friends in high school that were very much so geared towards that more creative photography lens, not to be punny, but yeah, they took the photography classes, they learned how to develop film, and that was something that never interested me. But it was something I always admired. And I remember going into college, I thought, well, I want to, make memories and I want to capture those memories, even if it's just, on my phone or on a little baby camera. And so I took some of that graduation money and I bought a camera.
Nice.
And
what kind of camera?
It was a Canon Rebel.
Nice.
Which is actually a pretty decent camera for someone that, was such a noob in the camera photography
EOS
world.
And T7s and stuff, they make life pretty easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so I shot with that baby on auto all the time. We'd go to the beach with my friends. We'd have bonfires in college, just a random excuse to take photos and print them out and hang them in my room. And it ended up getting to the point where I went to a smaller Christian school for my college years, and the whole joke was getting an MRS degree, and you were going to get that ring by spring. And so my friends were getting engaged and married at 20, 21.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, you
like
have
they're
no
in the military.
budget. Yeah. Yes,
oh, yeah.
Exactly. And you have no budget to really do anything extravagant for a wedding, so you really lean on those that are around you. And I was typically that friend that would volunteer myself of, well, I have a camera and, I kind of know what I'm doing, so I might as well just serve you in this way and us have fun doing it. And the more I did it, the more I realized, wow, I think I'm pretty decent at this, first off. But second off, I just always appreciated the opportunity it gave me to connect with people on a deeper level. And, it's vulnerable to have your photo taken.
Oh, especially in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
As glammed up as you could ever be, it's still a thing to go through mentally to be like, we're doing all of these different steps in the wedding. We're getting photographed. We're going to remember this. It's going to be stapled. And then it's another thing for you to be like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm new to this. This has been a hobby of mine. And then you do it and you do a good job.
Yeah.
Right? Like you solve the problems that you need to solve and you're like, okay, I'm pretty solid at this. Like that's two big jumps in a really short period of time.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think the thing that's carried me is honestly community and the connections that I've made throughout the process. So it was those friendships that turned into work opportunities, and then also leaders and mentors and pastors I had around me that continually saw a gift in me, and not necessarily, a gift to use a camera and capture people, but more so I think seeing the gift of my ability to connect with others and make others feel safe and enjoying the process of being photographed. They would hold a crown over my head and just call me upward. And that's where I've gotten to today. And by just the generous gift of a mentor that sowed into my life in the fall of 2018, I was able to leave my full-time job that I was working at a nonprofit, and I've been full-time since. And it's just been the most wild, fun adventure, and I'm so grateful.
Still mostly weddings?
Still mostly weddings. I've pivoted quite a bit in some areas, so my heart is
You had to have
nonprofit.
done a couple hundred though, at
Oh,
least in
gosh,
6 years,
I've
5.5 years, I guess.
I've wanted to take the time and count, but I never have. And I
Yeah.
can't even tell you how many weddings I have booked for this year,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know if that's the most business savvy thing, but
I think it is. It's like to get connections from other people that you've done work for, or like brides that know other brides that are going through that process. Like br- we've done tons of wedding videography, right? And we like October's gone for us. And the reason is because it's so important for people to just get stuff off of their checklist to do. You know, it's like as long as I don't have to think about this while I'm thinking about a million other things,
yeah.
and it's somebody that I can trust. So like how you present yourself and how you go through that process, and having people not make that decision last minute, I think is as not only business savvy, but it's as it comes from a mindset of servitude, you know what I mean? It comes from a place where, like, I know that I have to dedicate this time to somebody in the future, but it's because I want to do them a favor and take something off of their plate during a very stressful time. So, no,
Right.
I think it's a good call.
Yeah.
You don't want to be booking stuff last minute and not know what you're going to do this weekend, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, what are the other things that you've pivoted into? I would
Yeah.
imagine that's taught you kind of some different skills as well.
Absolutely. So, in the last couple years, I've had the opportunity to work with Magnolia, which
Oh,
is
cool.
that fixer-upper brand, which is such a cool story that I feel, so grateful. I've been able to work alongside them for 4 issues of their magazine,
Wow.
which was a lot more portraiture and storytelling. And a wedding day is that as well in just a different light. But I'm going into a moment with purpose of really getting to know someone to the point where I can portray their story in
Right.
a way that honors,
Who they are.
yeah, who they are exactly. And so I got to do that for 4 different issues with them, which was different for me. It's not my typical bread and butter. And then with the nonprofit world, I do a lot of the same things. So I primarily work with City of Refuge, which is a nonprofit based in Atlanta, and they serve people of all avenues, whether it's coming out of experiencing homelessness, degrees of sexual exploitation, children that have been in the foster system, you name it. City of Refuge probably serves that area. And I get to do a lot of storytelling, of interviewing people who have had these crazy just life transformations, that have been at point A and are now at point D, and I get to interview them and tell their story and take their photos, and we get to share that with all the people that sow into
For sure.
that ministry.
You get to help them tell their story.
Exactly.
So what do you feel like? Do you feel like that relationship aspect is what sets you apart from the rest of your industry? Like I feel like some people hang their hat on the technical side. And while we spend an extraordinary amount of time thinking about the technical side, what are more things that we can do with our camera to make us more capable and do a better job? It's not the hardest thing in the world, right? How to work your camera and all of those things is like you can only get so far being the best, most technical photographer. And there you have to have another layer to you that makes people connected to you in a way that isn't necessarily about the X's and O's going around your camera. So do you think that relationship building has kind of been your superpower?
100%. I think the ability to be a friend and to just be kind. People are attracted to kind humans that
For
make
sure.
them feel safe and comfortable. And I'm not saying I'm the, picture perfect example of that whatsoever. But I know that I'm a human and I desire friendship. And if I were inviting someone to capture my story, I would want to feel connection with them. And I think that's something that I continue to share with other photographers or friends that are pursuing photography or a business of some sort. I would say my brand is very cohesive with who I am as a person. So there's no separation in who Savanna Saunders is versus who Savanna behind Savanna K is. I
Mm-hmm.
have the same values, I have the same, interests and hobbies and excitement about things, and that really ignites me in my business, and that makes me who I am, and I think people appreciate that.
As you've grown, right, as you've made changes to your business and your industry, where did you feel like the storytelling part came into play?
Mm-hmm.
That's not step one for people. I'm sure
Right.
that you're aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like really building a narrative through your images is
Mm-hmm.
really like that third evolution of where you become as a photographer. So what would you feel like was that moment where you were like, okay, I got to start figuring out how to tell stories with these pictures?
Yeah, so I'd say it just came from my own personal life and my own story. I have lived, the last 15 years with a brother that's really battled addiction, and it has taken me and my family on some crazy roller coasters. And I have felt a burden to share the story of really what addiction is and the sickness and everything that comes with that. And that has led me to the nonprofit world, of course, feeling this connection and deep empathy and passion to bring light into that area. And so I honestly think it's just my own experience and empathy of, you're never going to know the full story, but how can I connect to someone on a personal level to where they feel comfortable expressing parts of that story, and then safe enough to let down the walls of, yeah, I'm going to let myself be seen in this photo, whether it's through the eyes or, someone's hands. And those are little parts of pictures when I'm taking photos of people. Posture, people carry themselves with confidence or with, like a more
Mm-hmm.
reservedness. And I honestly think my own story with my family has been such a driver in the way that I approach storytelling and the lens that I see
Sure.
people through, if that makes
Oh, it
sense.
definitely does. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely does. And taking your own personal experience and solving a problem for other people is a great way to um, mean what you say.
Mm-hmm.
In business terms, it's
Yeah,
like you're. It's not really putting your money where your mouth is. It's putting your morals where your mouth is. And I
exactly.
mean, it's even more than that. Like your values and your self worth is so
Mm-hmm.
wrapped up in who you are as a person that
Mm-hmm.
permeates over into your work. It's
Mm-hmm.
a game changer. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Would you say that most of your business comes from introductions from people that you're already working with?
I would say so. I feel like it's more of a friend connecting friend
Yeah. Yeah, but
industry for me.
like moms stick together,
Mm-hmm.
wedding people getting married stick
Right.
together.
Bridesmaids.
That's a weird thing that you go through.
Yeah.
It's not like a very natural thing. The
Yeah.
whole process of getting married is not very natural. No one goes through it the first time. They're like, I got nothing to worry about, unless you're
Yeah.
that type of person, I guess. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you do a good job of asking. It seems like.
I try.
Yeah, yeah,
I really try. You just staying curious, I think, is
yeah.
the biggest thing in any business, is always stay curious, and I always try and be others focused in that. And I feel like that will always lead you to the next possible
For sure.
solution or area of growth that you could get to.
What did you feel like was most difficult? Like kind of in the different stages of your business,
Mm-hmm.
what has been your biggest battle as far as getting yourself to where you want to be goals wise?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like it changes
Yeah,
every month, every year. But I think the thing that I have found to be the hardest is overcoming that imposter syndrome,
yeah,
because photography, especially in Atlanta, it's such an oversaturated market. And to think, who am I, little Savannah, to get paid this sum of money to handle someone's photos on the most important day of their life? What in the world? Like, what sets me apart? Am I actually good enough to do this? And so I think it's just continuing to come back to my why and looking at what I do and the way that my couples might circle back, or how a bridesmaid from that one particular wedding that just got engaged might reach out, or whatever it might be. It's just continually reminding yourself that there actually is more room at the table.
No doubt.
There's never a table that's too full, and if there is, then you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong circle of people.
For sure.
I say just, continue to go for it. Continue to put yourself out there and remind yourself that you are worthy of this, and you have all of, these past years to remind yourself that you've gotten this far for a reason, and times will change, and you just adapt and pivot with them.
Yeah, I'm sure you still experience that.
100%.
What is your next goal? Where do you see to go? Is it more of the same? Do you enjoy kind of capturing those moments so much? Does that put your heart where it needs to be?
I feel like the longer I've been in this industry, the more I've realized that it's never going to be a number for me. It's never going to be a salary, and when I say number, a number of weddings,
Sure.
Cameras that I have. It's going to be what my life looks like outside of work, which is where I find my goals really being fueled by, which might seem so backwards and so outside of this whole entrepreneurial business mindset, but I think it's really easy to get burnt out as an entrepreneur. It's really easy to want to chase the next high and thing, but what's actually sustaining you behind all of the business? Are you feeling fulfilled and joyful at home? Are you sleeping enough? Are you, feeling like fulfilled in life, period? And so I think for me, the next greatest goal I have is to continue to figure out what my limits are, what my boundaries are within my business, to honor those, and to get more into the nonprofit world. I think that's really where my heart beats, is telling those stories of people that I meet in that sphere. And I think I would say a goal outside of my own well-being and what I'm doing at home, it would be just probably to pivot more in that nonprofit world.
Sure. I think we talk about it a lot on the podcast, is finding ways to be happy now. I think that something that probably everyone has done, something definitely that I did, that I know is a recurring thing, is you set these milestones for yourself, and you're like, when I get here, I'll be happy. Or when I get to this next thing, I'll be happy. Or when I get to this period, or when I get to this amount of money, I'll be happy. Or when I get to this many customers, or when I feel like my product is at this place, I'll be happy. And then your mind gets in this windmill of constantly sliding that place away from yourself. You're always the same distance from that point of when you're going to be happy. And one of the most important things to know from an entrepreneurial perspective is that you have to find ways to be happy right now, or you'll constantly continue to move that bar away from yourself until it's just unattainable. You can go to the tip of the mountain, and if that bar is still sliding away from you and there's no other rungs of the ladder for you to climb, then you just find that's where burnout comes into the equation for me.
Right.
It's when you keep sliding that away from yourself, you're going to hate what you do eventually.
And you're going to resent it.
For sure. Reward yourself when you get a goal, right? When you hit a goal, or when you do a really good job, you have to find a way to reward yourself, is not the right word, but just celebrate the journey. You have to fall in love with the process. We say that all the time too, but it is important not to slide that barometer of what makes you happy away from yourself. It's a very dangerous thing in business. And it's learned behavior too. I don't think anybody knows that. It goes back to that imposter syndrome thing, right? It's you don't feel like you are the person or did the things that you needed to do to be where exactly you are in your business. It feels like something that should always be evading you, but it shouldn't. You should be happy right now. You should be happy wherever, no matter where you are in your business. And if you need help with your business, there are millions of people that will help you. People are inclined to help people, like us especially. We have a business, we have a podcast, we have production that we do. We have all kinds of things that we do, but it took me years to learn how to be excited about the little wins on a day-to-day basis
Mm-hmm.
rather than constantly sliding that bar away from myself. And sometimes I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I realize I'm doing it and I don't even know that I'm doing it. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's a dangerous thing. What do you feel like's been? We talked a little bit about your superpower, and we talked a little bit about, you know, dealing what's the most difficult thing for you to overcome in that imposter syndrome world. And then we relate that back to goals of like where you want to be. What is the impact for you? Like your goal is to transition more into that nonprofit space, to find more of a narrative to capture, to make more impact so you that can portray these stories, right? What is it about that drives you?
Oh man.
That's not a natural thing. I want you to know that. Like the philanthropic or the humanitarian side of that is
Mm-hmm.
not why people jump into business, which is why I asked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's your religion and your background that
Yeah.
really drives that. But
Mm-hmm.
for everybody, I think it's something different.
It is, and I think even going back to what we previously just talked about, it's your why.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my faith is my why. You know, and like I said, even my own story with my family, I think I have tasted and seen on so many levels, you know, with my own story, but also what for me the local church has done. And yeah, I would say that's my motivator is I feel, I mean, I love the Lord. And I really have nothing else to. It's His grace, I guess. It's His grace that carries me in that. And that is different. And that's not your typical, you know, what would you say,
Right.
Gary V, like.
Yeah.
I just have so much faith and have seen God continue to provide for me and sustain me, whether it be through, you know, that $1,000 check I got when I first went full time from a mentor that felt like the Lord had told her to give it to me, to even just these last couple weeks. I just got married and I'm on my honeymoon. Thank you. I'm on my honeymoon with my husband, and so romantic to talk about, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what does my calendar look like for this year? I feel so behind. I want to be a wife that provides and all of these things, feeling insecure and like a failure. And I get back from my honeymoon and I mean, here we are.
Nothing's burned down.
Nothing's burned down. I've booked, you know, I booked 4 weddings in that first week back. And I just think God takes care of me. He always has. He always will. And I continue to honor Him and put Him first in all of this. And I don't think it's a prosperity gospel situation. I think it's just genuinely God loves His children, and I feel like I am in a sweet spot that He's given me a gift, and I continue to use it to honor Him and
For sure.
His ministry. So yeah.
I can agree with that. Everyone's why is a little bit different, you know, and some people's are so far away from your why. Some people's are very, very closely aligned. But the discipline to keep the why at the forefront of why you do what you do, like to keep it top of mind, is such a difficult skill to build over time. You know what I mean? Like you have to get used to reminding yourself why you do what you do. It's not the easiest thing in the world to keep that front of mind, but I'm excited about where you are in your business. I think it's really cool. I think the reason that you do what you do is the most exciting thing about what you do. I don't care if you picked up that camera right there and it was the first time you ever held a camera.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I have faith that she's going to do a pretty good job because of why you do what you do. It's an exciting thing. So tell me this. This answer may be in a story or it may not be, but Burn the Ship, the name of the podcast, is really about going all in on your business, right? It's about that light switch moment that everyone has that says, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going all in on my business. And you told me a really, really good story about that first check when we were on the phone. What was that moment like for you where you just decided this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to overcome these challenges that I know I'm going to face? You know, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to own my own business, and here's the way that we're going to provide value to the people that trust me to do what it is that I do. What was that moment like, and why should other people that are kind of debating the idea of opening their own business seek out that same experience?
Gosh, it was exhilarating and scary
Mm-hmm.
and something that did require me to go all in because I was leaving that comfort of what people like to paint as the American dream. You know, you have
Yeah.
your 9 to 5, your white picket fence, you know, your 401k,
Yeah.
all of these things that are promised to you in a nice, pretty, neat package. And I had decided I'm just going to take a step out and I'm going to pray and believe that, you know, these bills would be continually met. I think I had enough in my bank account. You're a fresh college grad, so you
Mm-hmm.
have, at least for me, I had no money. I had no sense of bookkeeping or budgeting or
Me
anything
and you
like
both,
that.
pal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Did you have money when you got out of college? Yeah. No.
Yeah, I
No.
feel like that's typically the story. And I remember I went to Europe right after I graduated, and I kid you not, I just burned through anything that I had. And so, you know, you're coming out of college and you're deciding, okay, well, mom and dad have always told me to have this set aside and to have a
Mm-hmm.
401k, and you need to have.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful,
Sounds
right?
great.
That
I wish.
insurance aspect too. I remember that was really scary for me because now I had a couple years left on my parents, of
Yeah.
course, but once you hit that 26 mark, that's when it really becomes real of,
Yeah.
no, I am actually choosing to pave my own path and to do this. And for me, it was a matter of surrounding myself with others that saw that gift in me and saw the potential and letting them spur me on
Yeah.
and letting them connect me with others. I think it's all about relationships. And that's what it's been for me, at least, is it's that relational aspect of knowing, okay, well, not that you enter into friendships or relationships to receive from them, but as more so, what can I give to this relationship? How can this be a mutual, you know, benefit for both of us? Whether it's just to have like an amazing friend that you can chat, you know, married life with or whatever, or you have a friend that's in the industry with you and you can talk about the hardships of wedding photography or the wins and have people that celebrate with you and understand. And I think for me, that exhilarating, scary aspect of leaving the comfort of a 9 to 5 job was met with an amazing community of people
For sure.
that saw potential.
They come out in droves.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It
Mm-hmm.
really is amazing. And so I feel grateful that that's my story. And I feel grateful that my parents, even when I was so young and fresh out of college, that they had some reservations and they had questions, which I
Sure.
think is good. I think it's good
About
to,
your 401k and your
right.
insurance.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And I think, you know, it's good to think through certain things and to be challenged and, of course, use wisdom and discernment with your decision-making process.
Sure.
But
There's a time in your life though where as you get older, you become more adverse to risk. You know what I mean? It's like as you get
Yeah.
older, you're like, I can be more conservative in the things that I do because
Yeah.
I've been working so long
Yes.
to get myself where I am.
yeah.
It's real hard to be risk averse at 22, fresh out of college and not married. You know what I mean? It's very hard not to like, no, I think I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had a similar reaction.
Yep.
That's really cool though. Your experience is really cool. Where you are is really cool. If we can be of any benefit to you, we obviously do some production stuff, but if we can be a benefit to you or just capture any of those moments while you're experiencing those things yourself, please let us know.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming. Burn the Ship is a platform literally built to give back to the small business community that has done so much for us in our business in the processing world. And I think your story sums up a lot of what we try to put into focus for people very, very well, because obviously you've been through your challenges, but because you were so rooted in your faith, it was easy to keep your eyes in the right place. Because you had this community, it was easy to keep your eyes and your direction steady. And for some people, that's not the same case, you know. And myself and you and all the people that have been through those things, it's amazing how willing people are to go out of their way to help you minimize your own learning curve.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Thank you for coming. If you have anything else to leave the audience with, please feel free. Tell them at least how to find you and get in touch with you.
Yeah, well, I just appreciate the opportunity
Anytime.
to
Feel free to come
share.
back anytime.
You can connect with me on Instagram at savkbrown. I feel like I'm most active in my.
Is that staying?
You know, I was thinking about it this morning. All of my friends from college would always call me Sav K Brown, Sav K, Sav K. And the thing that keeps me from changing it, I'm actually dropping Brown legally. So
Yeah.
Brown is legally dropped. But the thing that keeps me from changing it is when people tag you and stuff on Instagram, it's going to bring them to Sav K Brown, which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, unless Instagram has updated, then
No,
by all
that's it.
means, I would love to change
You're
it.
correct.
Yeah.
No, that's still how it is. Twitter's actually figured it out. Twitter, you can click on
Good for
someone's old
Twitter.
handle and you come to the new one.
Yeah. See, Instagram.
I wish I was
come on.
used Twitter, but yeah, Instagram is behind the times.
Yeah.
Facebook's the same way. If you go change your Facebook name right now, they'll never find you.
Yeah, what's up with that? Now, my Facebook name is changed on my personal profile, but you can find me on Facebook at Savanna K. And then my website is savannak.com. And that's Savannah spelled like the city, but without the H. And then it's KAYE.com.
Cool.
So,
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank
It really
you
does
so
mean a lot. I
much.
look forward to doing this again in a
Yeah.
year, and we'll sit back and laugh at this, at how far you've come. And
yeah.
it's a really cool journey. Congratulations again on
Thank
your
you.
wedding. I'm
Appreciate
glad
it.
that you're back. You made some time for us. It means a lot. So
Yeah.
cool. Anything that we can do for you, let us know.
Appreciate it.
All right, burn the ship.